Hello and welcome back to VGC, this time for a review roundtable of EAFC 25. I'm joined by Chris Scullion and Morgan Truder. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. As we record this, it's quite late in the evening,
Hmm.
pre-state of play, so it's just going to be one of those nights. But
I have had a day full of getting my arse kicked in rivals, so I have plenty to say. Morgan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. Same as you, really, getting the stress of rivals out of the way, I suppose.
Yeah. So the way this will go, because it's the AFC and it's a bit of a weird game to review, we're just going to go into personal experiences. We'll touch on a few different modes. I've played a bit of everything now so that I can review it, but primarily spending my time in Ultimate Team. Chris, your couple of sentence thoughts off the top on 25?
um, as one would expect, probably like it kind of another iteration. That's not like a big revolutionary change. I think the menus are finally reaching breaking point.
Yeah.
But I like Rush.
Mhm.
And I like how the season mode kind of expands every kind of mode now. But I'm sure we'll get into that at some point.
Yeah.
But so far, yeah, a decent kind of step up, but not an enormous one.
Morgan, your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Really, it's not a leap by any means. I do think Rush Mode is a great addition, but also kind of with the menus, the more you play, the more you do notice the seams that have kind of always existed, and it's frustrating they've never been fixed, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I'm really enjoying it. I think this is I go through cycles. Obviously, I play them every year to death, but this so far, I'm really enjoying this one, and I think it's obviously last year was the first FC, and this year we're starting to see more of the stuff that they promised they could do, and divorced from the FIFA license, such as Rush, such as the obnoxious Nike Arena and that commentator that I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, I'm really enjoying myself. I'm so driven to play it constantly. Like my PS5 clock says that I've played it for 65 hours already, so it's just an absolute constant in my life at the minute. I'm currently in that stage where I'm like, is this the year that I can get back to rank 1 in champs? I've not been able to do that since I was like 19. So will this be the year that I can do it? And I think that we'll go into Ultimate Team now. I think Ultimate Team makes a lot of smart changes in terms of respecting your time. Like a lot of the modes have reduced game limits. Squad battles is now only 14 games, so it's 12 normal games and the 2 bonus games. With rivals, they've changed it to a point system now, which can end up making you play more matches. But if you're good, you can kind of fly up that system. Foot champs, which isn't available yet, will be 15 games. So I think they're conscious of the fact that people have a lot of live service games to kind of pull themselves towards. So it feels like they want people to get in, get some rewards, and get out. Chris, do you feel like that's kind of where the wind is blowing?
Yeah, I think so. The squad battles one's a good one for me because I remember having to grind squad battles like
40
quite a
games at
lot.
one
Like,
point.
yeah, for like which was ridiculous. So it almost like it took me by surprise this time because like I've like an idiot, I didn't kind of acknowledge what was going on until it was too late. So I played like another 4 games after and got 0 points for every one. I'm like, this fucking game's broken. No, am I getting no points? I'm raging at it. Like, but didn't even notice the tip at the start saying it's only 12 games now, by the way. But yeah, you're right. It's the fact that it doesn't kind of demand it, but I think it does that in a way that it demands a lot of your time still, but in different areas. The
Mm.
fact that, like I said earlier, the fact that the season pass type thing now spreads over every mode, it means they don't want you in Ultimate Team the entire time. They want you on Manager mode. They want you on Player mode. They even want you in clubs. Although I don't know how many people are going to do that, but it wants you to kind of dip your thumb in numerous pies.
Yeah, it's weird because the manager mode and the player objective mode, I think the way they split up that menu is extremely confusing and like quite hard to follow. But a lot of those objectives are easy but tedious, which it feels like it is just a ploy to have like higher most active user numbers at that point. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you have to win a league. That takes it's very easy, but it takes a long amount of time. Morgan, is Ultimate Team the mode you'd spend most time in typically, and how is that reflected in this year's game so far?
It's been I'm quite an even split, I'd say. Traditionally, I normally work in cycles, so sort of obviously similar to yourself. I've been reviewing it, so I've been trying everything. But I'd normally sweat Ultimate Team, either get bored or catch up to the curve, and then that's when the career mode save will start. I always start with a West Ham one just to see what the mechanics are saying and stuff, and then what I'll do is a player career for a season, and with like an older pro, like a statesman of the game, and then I'll retire, and then I'll sort of take whatever job you can get, like a Vitesse in the Netherlands or whatever, and then you're like, right, here we go, and sort of embark on that journey. And then I always play clubs as well, and this year I've put a lot of time into Rush, I think it's a standout, isn't it?
Yeah, Rush is the thing that when I played the beta and played like the preview build, it was the thing that I thought, if they actually nail the reasons to come back to this, it could be amazing. So thus far, Rush is a 4v4 mode for real life players and a keeper. The matches are like 8 or 9 minutes. I think the matches are slightly too long, but I think that's basically my only problem with it. And it is 5-a-side, so you're dealing with, if you're playing with randoms, you're dealing with people who think they can skill across the entire park. You're dealing with high scoring games. Things can change in an instant. People don't defend. Like, it's all very dramatic. And I think it actually nails kind of the best parts of clubs, playing with your mates when things go wrong, when things are funny. I think it nails that element into Ultimate Team in a way that I didn't think would be possible. The only thing that I think it needs is, currently there is 4 objectives which you get points for playing Rush games, and if your team has certain leagues or nations, you'll get extra points. Once you've done all that and got all of those objectives, there's essentially no point in playing because there's no league progression, there's no divisions or anything. But I think that's the only way it falls down. I think it's extremely fun and social in a way that Ultimate Team has never really been outside of like generic head-to-head games. But Chris, we played a lot the other night, and even though we weren't on the mics, like as soon as a game finished, straight in the Discord being like, that was shite, sorry I got 10 blue cards. Like,
yeah, no, I like it, and I'm like, I've said numerous times on our podcast, I hate online multiplayer with anyone in any game other than like FIFA 1-on-1 is the only kind of multiplayer I play online. So when Rush was announced, I was like, all right, I'll try it. But no, I genuinely enjoyed it. I think it's just enough players, like you say, for it to be intimate still, but not like over the top. And like you say, it doesn't need to chat. You've got your 4 kind of preset chats. But I wish they were
sorry over and over.
But sorry is useful. The rest, not so much. I would like the option to swap those out for more aggressive ones, like pass it, you prick, or stop doing tricks. I'd like ones like that, but I suppose that's not in the spirit of the game.
There's a few contextual ones, like if you don't have the ball and press circle, it will say shoot over your head, but there needs to be, like, the classic is spamming, if someone fucks up, spam thanks over and over again. That's great, but it's just Rocket League kind of foolishness. I think that Morgan, you'll probably be with me down on this road. I think a lot of the credit for this mode goes to TikTok clips of clubs, because it's the exact same kind of nonsense of like, okay, we're all going to charge into the keeper, then one ball goes over the top of us, and then it's all alone. They fuck it up and we all scream. But what's missing from that is divisions and promotions and relegations and stuff like that. So Morgan, I know Rush is in clubs mode this year as well. So how's it handled there? Are you just working for your club and kind of like, I'm not sure how it's set up.
Yeah, so it's similar to an Ultimate Team, and just that you just join the games, and we've been using it as, because we don't like to play clubs when there's only less than 5 of us. So then if there's 4 of you, it's like, well, we just won't bother coming on traditionally. Whereas now you've got this Rush mode. You get 4 of you online whilst you're waiting for someone else to come on, or if the Ennies at the pub or whatever, it's like, well, we'll wait for him to finish his pint and then we'll jump on. So yeah, you just jump in like you would an Ultimate Team, but you level your pro up at just a mad rate. Like it's the XP you get from doing rushing clubs is outrageous, especially for your pro. You just climb the levels. Every game you get like a level or 2, which then in turn more skill points. Then you start getting your play styles, that kind of thing, and then you can get your pro quite cracked. So we played a game yesterday whilst we was waiting, and we played against a team. I'm like an 83 or an 84 on clubs at the moment, which I thought was respectable. And we played a team that was like 87s and 88s, and they were huge, they were quick, they were all just outrageous, and it was like, nah. But yeah, it's it adds another dimension to pro club, or clubs now, sorry. Adds another dimension to clubs, adds another dimension to Ultimate Team, like you say, and it brings the the charm, I guess, is what you describe it as in clubs, because clubs is
Yeah.
it's a bit of a neglected game mode. It can be a bit buggy and a bit, it's not ideal at times.
Yeah.
But like you say, you get the clips on TikTok. That's where you get the viral stuff.
For a few years there, I thought they were going to drop clubs entirely because they'd just done nothing with it. I was so sure that it was going to be something that they put in the cupboard, and then 2 years later they'd go, lads, we're bringing it back. Well done, we've brought back clubs. But it's really kind of on its own 2 feet. I think that it's weird because I think Rush is really fun and really funny. I would love there to be proximity voice chat like Warzone, so that if everyone in the Rush game had headsets on like 5-a-side, you can just crunch into people and like shout at them and that. But that's
do you hope going forward that Rush gets a bit more Volta like, or are you kind of glad to see the back of that? Because it feels like it's in this kind of weird halfway point where it's 5-a-side and it's faster. I don't want it to go Volta where it's just tricks constantly and you're hitting the ball off walls and stuff like that. I like that it's still like a small normal football pitch, but I'd like some slightly sillier stuff in there just to make it more entertaining.
I don't think it's the same match engine as Ultimate Team games, because some of the dribbling and some of the crossing and some of the passing, I'll use the same players in both modes and it'll be completely different. And I don't know if that's because Rivals games are peer-to-peer, like the connections are generally quite good, and obviously we Rush are connecting 8 players, but sometimes it is just like, it feels a bit off. It feels like you're playing with bronze players sometimes.
The crossing's awful. The crossing's really, I mean, it's at a point I think where
it's really high all the time.
You may as well not bother unless you've got like the lads I played yesterday. Well, I assume lads played yesterday had like 7-foot tall players. There's just no point in doing it because it is, like you say, it's all just so up in the air. I mean, in terms of the development of it, I think it'd be interesting if it maybe leaned a little bit more into the Volta side, but only for the, like you sort of said, the silliness. So, you could maybe, like Kickoff has this where it's like, right, it's only long shots, it's only outside the box, or it's maybe you have to do a certain amount of skill moves before you do score, or no fouls, because that game mode with no fouls at all would be a lot of fun. Just crunching players.
Carnage,
So I think.
Yeah, and I'm hoping over because obviously it's not launched yet, so I'm like properly. So I'm hoping that it looks like Club Rush is set up to have multiple kind of rule sets, because there's only one at the moment and it looks like there's space for more. So hopefully it ends up like online friendlies does in Ultimate Team, where there's a bunch of different requirements and a bunch of different rules. So hopefully we do get to the point where it's just like where they add that really or they add that really weird kind of thing in friendlies where you get the power-ups and stuff like that. Like I'd be up for that if it's a limited time thing that lasts 2 weeks and then that disappears and something else comes up. I'd be up for that. That would keep me playing it.
Yeah, I think it needs that. It would be kind of difficult. I mean, it wouldn't really be difficult to implement because you get all the rewards are personal, so you could still do this. You could still have a division system where at the end of a season, if you're do like a division 5-1 in Rush, and at the end of a season it resets, you just go again and you get rewards based on that, because obviously it all feeds into main Ultimate Team.
That would also solve the worst problem just now, which is players to just stop playing.
Yeah.
If there's a division system and you go up the ranks, you'd imagine that as you go up the ranks, you get matched with people who are also like playing it properly and like taking it seriously. So as you go up the divisions, you get less people just dropping out, which is infuriating.
Considering how toxic the FIFA or FC fan like community can be, I think it's mad that they didn't see this coming with people just AFKing and dropping out. Like it's so frustrating. You go into a game and there's just someone's just sat there like building up XP.
Yeah. They need to patch that in where if somebody doesn't move within 45 seconds or something, then they just get replaced with an AI.
Especially because this is the community that a couple of years ago when they introduced icon swaps, everyone was like, okay, we're all just going to score one goal and quit matches, and they had to introduce limits on that. Like, this is a community that wants to play as little of the game as possible to get awarded for it. So
see, if I just turn up and get my packs, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
To actually need to kick a ball in it.
So outside of that, Ultimate Team is fairly similar to the last couple of years, outside of a couple match limit changes. Still get evolutions. They're firing out evolutions. There's already been like 8 of them. Like, they're split into the ones that are kind of stats. There's also cosmetic evolutions, which thus far look terrible. But I'm sure like the card designs have leaked. They will eventually look cool, because if there's one thing that EA can do, they can make cards look cool. So that will happen eventually. But the Evo system, I'm a wee bit worried about it, because they've already went really heavy on stat limits. So just tonight they released one for centre backs, and it's like based around getting acceleration up. So I clicked into it, and I play with Lacroix, the Crystal Palace French centre back that's already rapid, and he was eligible, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be ridiculous. But then you click into him, and the cap was like 78 acceleration, and he has 77. So even if you did the full Evo, he would only get that one acceleration boost.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know last year people broke it to where they got like 99 everything on certain cards because EA didn't actually work out. You didn't go on foot.gg and work out all the cards that would be eligible. But the worst thing they could do is make that really tight and stringent and boring. Like, I want to have a 99 Kyogo eventually. I just don't want it to be exclusively when EA tells me. Chris, you were well into the Evos last year. How do you feel about the paid for Evos? Did you only do the free ones, or did you do some of the coin ones?
If I had to, I never buy points, but if there was any with coins that were affordable and not mental, because some of them were like 100,000 coins, like for a.
There was a Centurions promo last year that it was 2,000. It was like 200,000 coins at 1,000 points, but it was the one that got Marcus Llorente was eligible for, and he stayed in my team for like the whole year, so I didn't feel bad about paying for that.
If there's a very specific situation, then okay. But for the most part, I'll take the Evos I can afford and not go crazy with them. But I like you can have. Well, you can't have two at once now, can you? Not you can line them up, but only one of them can still be active.
I've not actually checked. Have they seriously?
Because I applied one to Kyogo and one to McGregor, and I could only do the McGregor one. I couldn't make the Kyogo one active until I finished the McGregor one.
That is poor, because you could do two at a time at the end of IFC 24. That is such a we'll do this at Christmas.
I may be wrong, but that's how it came across to me, was that I could only do one at a time. I think. But yeah.
Morgan, in terms of building up a team, like obviously we all got the Ultimate Edition. Are you just banging out the points? You doing bronze pack method? How are you building the team?
No, I'm not bronze pack methoding. I've not got the patience or the add-ons on my computer to do it for me, if you know what I mean. I've tried I tried so hard not to spend them points. I was desperate. I was like, there's no point. I'm not going to spend them yet. I'm going to wait until something happens. And then what happened was, I guess it was like, I don't know, last Friday. And I thought, well, might as well.
Yeah.
So, I opened some packs. I got the Team of the Week Messi, which I was pretty chuffed with. I was really happy with him. I was really happy with him. I lost my mind. I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. And then he's only worth like 280k. So he's gone down.
That makes me feel so old, man.
Yeah, I felt ancient. I was like, maybe I'm losing touch. But yeah, I sold him, and then I've built my hero, because we've got a hero as well with the Ultimate Edition, didn't we? My hero was Noor, the Saudi hero. The 10. Yeah. I got him, so I've built with my coins like a Saudi Premier League hybrid, which is essentially Man City, I suppose.
I can't remember who my hero was. It was like a French woman. I don't remember which one. It was a female, Guti, but I can't remember which one.
If you didn't get Guti or Hazard, you were kind of shagged. I need to look it up, because she's played about 200 games for my club at this point, but I still barely know her name. She's called Farah Williams, who she's Women's Super League in English, so she gets good links. But I like that these cards are all going to get upgraded in November to like prime versions of heroes. But let me tell you something that I'm actually gutted that I didn't do. So the night that it came out for Ultimate Edition, Henrik Larsson's icon card was 80,000 coins, and now he's up at 150k. I should have just bought one. I had the money. I should have just bought one. Also, I had. So as always, I try and manipulate the market when we have the game and no one else does. So I bought like 15 Jeremy Dokus, and then when the game came out, I bought him at like 7k. When the game came out, he shot up to 15, and I was like, surely that's the cap. Now he's a way up higher than that. So I'm no trader. I'm no run the foot market, unfortunately. But
the trading gets a bit out of hand, doesn't it? I never try and I always try and be a good boy and just do it the way FIFA wants me to, and or FC wants me to. And because you see people doing the trading, and they're like, I've got this, and I've got 300 Darwin Núñez's on my transfer list, and you're like, oh, why?
The one thing I'm doing though, because it happens every year, and I always think, I should have done that. I'm buying every single like 9,000 coin team of the week that I can get, because at some point they're going to do an SBC that requires one of them, and even if they go up to 20k, which they inevitably do, like that's also a way that it stops me spending my coins, because if they're all invested in team of the weeks, that their discard value. So even if I don't sell them, I can just get rid of them and generate the coins.
You're basically turning it into Animal Crossing turnips.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I've got
Your-
loads of assets. Not very liquid right now, but loads of assets.
Yeah, not liquid
Not
at all,
liquid.
because I stay around 30k, so I can bronze pack method if I want to. But yeah, the goal is save up for Haaland. I got an insane 50k pack where I got Harry Kane, Ruben Diaz, Saka, and Osimhen all in one pack, which was just like insane. So I've been using Harry Kane up front. He's got finesse shot plus. It's completely broken. Edge of the box doesn't matter. Just it goes in every single time, which is good because I don't know how people are doing this insanely aggressive pressing defending, but every single one of my players, as soon as they get the ball, they just get bummed in the arse, like straight across the park, and that's it. Like the ball is off them.
I think
and then when I try and do that,
I think it's to do with the new tactics, because you can. So like I set up as a 4-3-3 defensively, because obviously it's all gone a bit Pep Guardiola in it. I set up as a 4-3-3 defensively, but when I attack, I'm in a 3-3-1. I want to say. So it's just
okay. So you're all compact,
really compact, but then loads of players in the front end. So it does mean that you're sort of, you're really getting in people's grill.
So Sasic was the hero I got. German female striker, 88.
It's not bad.
Oh,
actually not bad. Yeah, 88 striker. 85, 91 shot. So like she's good. She's like for a pre-order one, she's good. But it does mean that I've basically built a team of women around her, which is good. Like I've got like a lot of good like North American ones and a lot of good English women's.
The women's leagues are amazing, but the issue is they're different leagues to the men's leagues that are amazing. So it's like it's
so you can't like the chemistry's terrible.
So difficult to get right.
Yeah.
I'm glad they still do the thing though, where Barca women players and men players get chem, and so do Man City. Like they count it club by club. That'd have been really EA of them to not do. So like, I really want. I had Aitana Bonmati last year, and she was just ridiculous. She was like Iniesta brought back to life. Like I want her again.
She's joking. She's so good.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because I've got really good players, but they're all in completely different, like totally incompatible setups. So I've got that 88 rated German woman. I've got an 88 and an 89 defenders from the French Women's League. And then
Renard, have you got Renard? Is that who it is?
No, Mappy Leon is an 89.
Oh, she's really good.
Oh, yeah.
And Irene Paredes is an 88. And then I got Odegaard is an 89. And like, well, I'd love to put them on the team, but it's just not happening. I'll need to wait for a friendly with max chemistry before I can actually unleash them all at once. But yeah.
So we mentioned the tactics thing now. It's all gone very Football Manager. It's all gone Trequartista. It's all gone all these different names for positions. I think it's very. I think it will eventually be fine. I think it's very overwhelming and they do a terrible job of explaining it. Hence, I put it in the Discord, but I was playing some insane formation where when I had the ball, I had like 6 players in a line, and then 3 over at the wing and no one over at the left. And I was just like, why do I keep getting smashed in rivals? But so essentially each player, in addition to their play style and their position, they also have these roles. And that's like your box to box, your like stay back, your shuttling, your half winger, all this stuff that's terribly explained. And each player will have either 1 green plus or 2 green pluses, depending how good they are in that position. Instinct is go into your tactic and make everyone their plus. But then you do that and you look at what you're like with the ball, and you'll be an indescribable formation. You'll be playing like a 2-5-7 or something like that. You've got so many players on the park that the ref can't keep a hold of it. When you stop doing that and you start doing each manager card now has preset tactics, that's a bit better, but I can already see this being so broken that they're going to be like, okay, for the E-Champions League, we're not going to let you use tactics because someone's broke it to the point.
You've got the, I don't know if you've seen as well, you can enter other people's codes. So you can build a tactic. So people are going to be the same way that people like trade, on these Discord channels with cards. There will be people being like, I've built a nutty tactic that is cracked. If you give me like
especially because you can flip between them so quickly, it'll be like, okay, with this, play this tactic in the last 5 minutes. It's got 1 defender and then 9 attackers. Like It had to
I
get
hate
to
it.
this
I
point
hate it.
because the thing is, it had to
gone
get
woke.
to this point because
It's gone woke.
there's always been a rudimentary version of this in Ultimate Team for the past couple of years where people could set like your defensive, your ultra defensive, and stuff like that. This is just a bit more in depth doing it, and it seems to want to counteract the idea that it was last year, where it's just make everything either 10 depth or 90 depth, and then it doesn't really matter what else you do. I like the concept that you can out tactic someone, but as you say, Morgan, it's just going to, much like the KSI kickoff glitch back in the day, all it takes is one YouTuber to be like, this is the way that you can funnel a pass to an open striker every single time, and then that's all Weekend League's going to be.
Yeah, it'll be broken in no time. But as like I'm a Football Manager like fiend, so it's my preference to FC. I'd say just in terms of like I've always got a Football Manager save on the go. It's like I'm going to watch a film, which means I'm going to play Football Manager, and there's going to be a film on in the background. And so having this for career mode, I'm really looking forward to it. And like I say, the formation I've sort of got at the moment, which I nicked off a pal actually, he sent me his code, and I was like, I'll draw that. It's very like you can sort of see the similarities to where it has existed in real life, which is quite nice because, like you say before, you look at formations that do well on FIFA or FC now, and it would be, just sit really deep or play with everyone super super high, and it felt very gamey. Whereas like I think this feels a bit realer, I suppose.
Yeah, and definitely in terms of like the look at understanding that teams now play very different formations with and without the ball. Like when I'm playing with the ball, both my fullbacks tuck inside the right and left midfielder and become like a 6 across the midfield with like a couple of centre backs. Those changes are great. They just really need someone. They should have just hired Pep to do a video.
There's no tutorial, is there? Like, at all?
Yeah,
if I
was nothing.
Obviously, I'm a Football Manager fan, so I went in and I was like, "Oh, it's a bit like FM." And then you look at the without the ball, and no one's in the middle of the pitch, and you're like, "I've done this wrong." But if you were coming into this, imagine if this is the first time you've picked up one of these games ever. Say you're like 13, 14, you're just getting into football and games and all that kind of stuff, and you pick it up and you get it home. And you've downloaded it, so you're not going to get home. It's downloaded, and you fire it up, and you're like, I don't know what any of this means. There's nothing at all. You're just going completely raw. It is rough.
Yeah,
I think the reason I hate it is it gives me post-traumatic stress disorder from way back in the day when I was at uni. We're talking 2003 here, 2004. They did the Pro Evolution Soccer leagues where you would turn up at a venue and play other people, and like kind of. And I think I finished third or fourth in Edinburgh, I think you'll find, which wasn't good enough to go to the Nationals, unfortunately. But there was one guy who spent about 15 minutes before every match nudging his players like a couple of pixels to the left and a couple of pixels up and down, and everyone pumped him like every single game. He spent so long adjusting his attacks, everyone was just like, come on, mate. So I think every time I see it getting too complicated for its own good, I get that people love that and love the tactical side of things. But for me, it's just like 4-2-4 can go for it. Yeah. And see, I miss the basic up and down D-pad. There was an offense on up where you could do put guys in the wing or put a guy in the box, and there was defense on where you could play counter attack or whatever, and then left and right to do the attacking and defensive. That's gone now, and I miss it terribly. I don't know if there's an option to put that back.
I don't think you can put it back, but there is probably a way to set it up that you can do that kind of the way you want it. The thing that I had a really good moment where I was playing with my team, and my fullbacks would always run basically. They'd sprint up. I would have the ball with Bruno Fernandes, and I'd be like, okay, out to the winger, out to Lauren Hemp, and I'd want the fullback to cut to like underlap her and go on a run, and they would always just stop dead. And then I changed that in tactics, and immediately they started doing the underlap run. And I was like, okay, thank God, like that's something I've wanted to have minute control about for ages, and not trick it in the way that, because obviously you can press L1 to send players on runs, and as soon as they added that to the game, anyone did was spam L1, so 8 players were running in random directions. Like, I like when the game feels like people are playing to its mechanics and not exploiting them or making up for a lack of mechanics. And I think that the caveat to this is as soon as it's the weekend league, this is all going to fall apart. But
Yeah.
and there's already something that is really broken and annoying. This like this L1 R2 speed boost that is just everyone in
So
Rivals
cracked.
is doing it. Like,
So I've got Diaby
But-
in the Saudi league.
Mhm.
You know, the former Villa player, and he is.
yeah,
It's just, I mean, you do it once and you're like 20 yards behind their defense, and they're just stranded.
I had to I got Nico Williams and I was like, well, I'm going to have to play the game. And as soon as I started doing that, it was just a laugh. But that's all. Last year, Chloe Kelly had whip pass plus, and that's all you had to do. You could like be standing at your own half and whip it, and it would go straight to your striker and go in. So yeah, I think the tactics changes, I like them. I bet they're much better next year after a year of people being like, this is completely ruining the game. But yeah, I'm glad they're making swings like that. Much like Rush Mode, it'd be easy to see them. They do Rush this year, they do Tactics next year. They feel like they're cramming a lot in terms of actual like competitive Ultimate Team. Chris, how much do you mess with weekend leagues like historically? Because usually I'll play it religiously till about January, till about Team of the Year, and then I drop off.
I'll do it until for whatever reason I don't get all the season rewards, and at that point I go cold turkey and wait till next year. So I'm like I'm all in until I fall behind and then I stop. But yeah, anytime I get into the weekend league, I'll do it. Like I'll find free time, even if it's like staying up to 3 or 4 in the morning to get my however many games it used to be. Was it 20 recently? It was 20.
It was 20 last year, and then
Yeah.
like when it started, it was 40 games.
was 40,
and it
I
was
remember
only
it being
Saturday
40.
and Sunday.
Yeah, that was mental. But like last year, I got to the point where I was winning like half, and I was happy enough with that. Like there's some one week I won like 13 out of 20, and I was delighted with that. But that's kind of my
You'd be ranked 2 if you got
limit.
13 out of 20 this year. You'd be ranked 2, like because it's only
Well.
13's ranked 2, 15 out of 15 is full whack. Morgan, you much a weekend leaguer?
Yeah, I am. When during the pandemic, I lived in a house share with 2 other lads and one of the guys' partners as well. Bless them, because we would just play weekend league all weekend in the lounge. We just set up all 3 TVs and we just do our weekend leagues together. Because the pandemic, you know, you couldn't leave the house. It was like, right, we're just going to sweat FIFA hard. So yeah, I am a fan. My only concern is I don't know if I'll be able to qualify this year. I think I'm a decent enough player, but it's 3 out of 5, isn't it?
Yeah, 3
It's
out of
quite
5.
hard. I don't know, and the rewards are unbelievable as well. So I do wonder if the curve's going to get away from itself a little bit quite quickly.
I think it's going to make the market absolutely explode when this happens, because the rank 1 gets like 200k and an icon and all this other shit. Like, it's in some ways I think it's good, because in some years the higher ranks have got like really not shit rewards, but kind of pointless, because if you're getting to the high rank, you already have an amazing team. So like at least make it something fun. Like to them, opening a base icon pack, unless you hit one of like 5 out of 110 icons, are really going to make it into your team, but it's still fun to open. But yeah, I usually go really, really hard on it, to where the first couple of months I'm finishing my games on Friday. Like I play right through straight away, get my rewards. But yeah, the qualifications are so sweaty already that I just
Have
don't
you
know,
tried
kinda...
qualifiers already?
Oh no, I've not even, because I don't feel good in Rivals yet. Like I'll get up ahead of Steam. I want to get to the 50 Rivals wins objective, and then I'll go into it. I'm only like 100k away for Haaland, so I might wait and get my Rivals
He'll be so
rewards
cracked,
this week.
won't he? He'll just be unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's the hope. Although Harry Kane is really good and he's untradeable, so I might swap to a 4-2-4. It's just Haaland and Kane up top, whip balls into them all the time. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that side of it. I think, yeah, it's a really complete Ultimate Team suite with a lot to do. There's already been some decent SBCs. That Spanish boy, the center mid, he's like 20k and he's brilliant. Yeah. Like he went straight into the team. And there's already been terrible SBCs, like the the 70, it's like a 77 plus times 3 pack, and you need like 7 rares for it or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, I did do that to
But
be
yeah.
fair because I was a bit bored.
Also did
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I did get Declan Rice. So I was quite chuffed, but I was
Oh.
happy with that.
Duplicate storage though. 100 slots on tradable storage. That is brilliant.
I didn't know that. That's
be
checked it
fair.
off. I
Yeah.
might have to go back and rewrite my review. Actually, that's pretty mad.
So it's only for untradables, but see
Okay.
in the SBC menu, if you press R1 twice, it'll have all your duplicates. So you don't have to just like, if you open a duplicate pack, you don't have to press circle, and then every time you go to open a pack, it's like,
I think
oh, here's 5 Rodris for you.
that's a
like,
good example of how they have made some really nice quality of life changes this year. And it seems like they've done it in a few of the game modes as well. Like I fired up career mode and just had a gander, and you could just scout people and they would just be fully scouted already. And like in loads of different modes, it seems like there's a lot of really nice, just minute changes that really help.
It feels like they got someone to play through 24 and they're like, don't write down like changes that will take years. Write down something that we could sort out in an afternoon, and we'll get as many of them in as possible.
So are you playing on PlayStation, both of you?
Yeah, PlayStation.
So I don't know if this is an Xbox thing, but we need to talk about the menus. Are the menus just not very reactive for you? Like, or is this just an Xbox thing?
I've had solid freezes all the time.
I literally, even when I'm entering my name in manager mode, it takes a couple of taps to actually move the cursor. It's so. Every year it feels like it's getting more sluggish. But this year it is breaking.
It's every menu as well. So it's even when you like, I'm trying to make changes yesterday in a game and I come out and the changes didn't happen because I pressed X on them to be like, or A if you was on Xbox to make the substitution. And then I come out of the menu because you're rushing. You got 40 seconds, didn't you? It's against the clock.
Yeah.
And none of the changes
didn't
happened,
register.
and I was like, right, I need to pause again. And you're waiting for the ball to go out, and yeah, they're some of the worst menus I think I've maybe used ever. They're terrible.
It's so clearly built. They clearly build it year on year, just on the bones of the last one. There's so much technical craft built up. Like, it feels like they need to say now, like, okay, for FC 27, it's going to be completely new. Like, that has to be a
Do you know the evidence is? Do
else.
you know the evidence is for that they're clearly building over it every year? Last year, the Switch version, like for the past X number of years, well, since the Switch came out, when it was FIFA, every FIFA was the same. The first game, which was basically FIFA 17 or something, like the 360 version ported to the Switch. And it got beyond a joke at that. After a while, it's just like, this is the same game every single year. For FC 24, they finally upgraded the Switch version and made it full feature parity with kind of the other versions. And the menu in that works perfectly.
Yeah.
And because they've started it, they've had to start it works. I'm sure someone said a couple of years ago when the menu started up, if you pressed the X really quickly, you could hear the ball being passed.
Yeah.
And what it meant was that the fucking arena thing that was in like 10 FIFAs ago is still in the background, like not doing anything.
Yeah. Also, a few years ago, a big pre-order splash screen came up for FIFA 17. Like, there's so many years of crap built up that try opening packs quickly, try sniping players, like try doing the thing where you go to 15 million. It's impossible now. Like, it's just pointless.
I think it's mad that they're the game that, like we were sort of saying earlier, has a player base that tries to play as little of the games as possible because they're trying to trade and graft and build SBCs and what have you. And it's a game that's pushed towards that as well. Like you've said, there's evolutions and SBCs already coming out that will be extinct by the time the game's actually out. So that's for a very small, well, it's not a small percentage, is it? Because so many people buy it early. But for a percentage of people that aren't even going to, and like a lot of people don't even have it now, and the menus don't work. So it's in a normal game, say you're playing a normal game, and like let's say Astrobot, the menus were a bit pants. You're not in them all the time. It's not the end of the world. It would have been a bit of it'd been a hindrance, but it is what it is. It's like 60% of the game.
Yeah.
It's like a football manager's menus were broken.
It's especially weird because the first night I was playing it, there was like 7,000 auctions on the live transfer market, and it was still quite slow. I was like, if this is how few people are playing it, like hundreds of people had the game at that point, and then when people went to New Zealand, suddenly millions, and you can feel it through the menus, you can feel it in gameplay. like when your gameplay starts, it's like, how is this still?
Was that
People win thousands of pounds playing this game. How is this still the way
isn't
it
it?
is?
It's mad that a game of this, you know, what we just saw with Concord recently. Obviously, I didn't play Concord, so I can't really speak to it, but because not many people did. I assume you used it.
I reviewed
You
it, mate. I'm a
reviewed it.
Concord stan.
Like how were the menus? Like how was all that sort of quality of life stuff smooth?
It was all very smooth.
Exactly,
modern.
and that's a game that couldn't
yeah.
succeed. And then this is a game that will, especially in the UK, sell millions upon millions. And there's a huge like facet of it that just doesn't work.
It reminds me of
Yeah.
PS3 GTA Online. Like when that first came out and you were trying to get into groups with your pals and you would press a button and nothing would happen and you'd be like, did you get an invite? Am I inviting you or am I joining game? Like it's you'll invite people to Rush and it will say on the EA thing someone's joined your lobby. 15 seconds later it'll actually fill that bit in on the game menu.
They need to sort it at some point because it's going to get to the point where people are going to resent. Well, people already do resent them, like at the drop of a hat. But like it's getting to the point now where they clearly know that it's like this, the way it is, and they're not bothering to fix it
all the time. There's no competition. There's not any. But obviously we have FIFA and whatever's like actual, you know, the Football Federation FIFA and whatever they're doing with the license.
Well, their game that'll be good for every e-boy and e-girl or whatever it was. That's the one.
I presume the thing that fixes this is them moving off this current EA engine. Whenever they build the next one for the next EA engine, because FIFA 14 was the first Frostbite one, as far as I can remember. At least it was the first Frostbite next gen one, and it was like flawless because it had none of this stuff. It had none of this crap from years and years of building up. Like, yeah it's. As someone who loves the menu content, like I get really into when there's upgrade packs, grinding that out, like all that kind of stuff's great fun.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. You whack on a podcast and you just or a TV show like It's Always Sunny or something. You just rinse SBCs.
But you start factoring in the lag. You're like, okay, I know I'm gonna do that. When you're trying to press R2 to send everything to your fucking club and the EA friends list keeps popping up, it's like, oh my god.
It just made it even weirder last year when I was playing the Switch one and firing through the menus. I'm like, this feels like next gen FIFA. Like compared to the PS5 and the Series X, the Switch version feels next gen. It's just a shame nobody's playing it because the transfer market is like 12 people, like 12
like the
transfers.
PC market.
But yeah, it's. Something needs to be done because I think that's the one point that for me is the worst above all else of FIFA just now. Like I still love playing the game. I don't feel it's changed other than the tactics. It hasn't really changed. It's probably changed the least year on year in terms of the overall feel.
Yeah.
But it's still a great football game. But you're constantly getting this feeling that it's not a polished product, and even though in every other aspect it is, the bit you're seeing, like you say, 60% of the game feels unpolished, and it really brings down the experience.
And I think you see the unpolished as well in things like, obviously I play clubs a lot with friends, and so there's been glitches for the last 3 or 4 years with regards to, you know, you choose the captain will choose the kit before the game, and he'll be like, right, I've gone for the black kit, and you're like, no, you've gone for the pink one, mate, and they've got a pink kit, and he's like, no, I haven't, and you're like, right, well. And it's like, do we back out? Do we go commit? And then you commit, and he's like, "Oh no, the kits are fine." And you're like, "Oh no, we've got pink on pink. It's terrible." And things like, you know, you get the graphics in the top left of the screen saying, you know, Jared Bowen's on 10 goals for the season and all this sort of stuff. It will show like a different club's badge, and it's still doing things like that. And you're like, these are, it's that there's no polish, which is sad because it's the most premium football game.
The thing that happened last year where all the dynamic images were absolutely tiny, so that you would just have like an empty card with a tiny dynamic image or a massively blown up like 100p JPEG of like David Gino's face like that close to the camera.
That is how he poses for photos. He just walks right up to everyone's camera.
Yeah, I was really excited for it before it came out, and it's sating that kind of excitement. Like I'm still gagging to play it all the time. I want to get better at it. I don't feel like I played a lot of 24. I played maybe launch till March gap, and then a bit of team of the season, then quite a lot during the Euros and like footies and stuff like that. And I don't feel burned. I think this is always the best part of the year, like the start, the kind of gold cards. people that are like, oh, I can't wait to do my starter team with like 78 goals. Like, that's not been a thing for about 10 years at this point. Like, I know when you played FIFA in high school and Akinfenwa in form was all the rage, like all that kind of patter, that's long dead. But I still think this like rare golds and this team of the week, he's an 84, but he's got like really good pace, so he'll do for now. I'm enjoying this. The first promo we're getting is going to be Road to the Final, like the live cards. I always think those are fun because they throw in a little bit of like you can get some like shite random player, but if he goes far, you end up where we gem.
Especially with a new system as well. It's gonna. I haven't even considered that actually with a new with the new European League format, Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. Like, yeah, there's so many more games now as well. Some of these cards are going to get excited. They're going to get a bit mad.
I mean, Celtic are going to win the Champions League.
Oh, really?
So that's absolutely buzzing.
I tell you, speaking of which, this is my 3-word review, which sold me on the game right away. And I don't care how shite the menus are written. The 3 words that sold me on the game were real Celtic faces.
Yep. Real Celtic faces.
So Celtic finally all have real faces. That'll
that Celtic career mode going.
That's all I needed.
I've got the Celtic career mode.
Signed him. Me too. I've signed him Mobley. I love the wee cutscene.
I immediately signed Jota back. I was like, I don't care how much he costs. I'm getting him back.
Bring him home,
Jota
son.
on the wing. I'm signing that TikTok lassie to sing the song. Like, it's all good.
I mean, I didn't play Career Manager last year. I'm assuming the cutscenes are all the same as they were last year. So, but I love that cutscene because it's new to me, but not to anyone else. When you sign someone and they're training, and they come in first and they shake a hand, they come in, they meet you in the lobby, and then it cuts to them running on the treadmill kind of thing. And with Celtic, it's like Callum McGregor and Schmeichel, kind of, and McGregor comes in and say, look at this prick. They kind of look at each other and say, look at this boy running. I love that. I don't, like I say, it's new to me. I know it's old to everyone else.
The Jota one's especially funny because they don't account for players that previously played at that club. So he's like walking into the stadium going, oh, that's just amazing.
I also love how devastated they look when you sell them.
Yeah.
Like none of them are like, yes, I'm going to a better team. They all kind of walking out like Charlie Brown.
It's when you have a failed negotiation with another manager and they can't agree on the terms. They're like, they get so like irate over it. It's brilliant.
There's also no nuance. Like I offered like 227,000 for something because it's all I had left, and they were stuck on 228,000, and there was no. I've just been like, right, okay, like that's fine. It's 1,000. They get up and they're like, fucking wait, this is a disaster.
Yeah, it's good.
Silly game.
Good old days.
It is good.
It's good to be back.
I am sad a little bit that they've still not implemented some of the. I mean, with these menus, it probably wouldn't be worth it. But you know how, like in FM, you can, like when you sign Jota, for example, you can see if he'd have come back and you could see like this is what he did before, and now he's back. And in FM, you get that. Then you get a little email being like, I don't know. Let's say we was to re-sign Felipe Anderson. You get an email being like, Felipe Anderson's rejoined the club for some reason, and he's doing this and.
Yeah.
I do wish there was a bit of that because it is just stats at the end of the day, and it would really add to the realism.
Yeah.
There is some stuff. There is some stuff they could, like the press conferences are boring as shit. Like stuff like that, you'd hope they would kind of improve on. It's always like praise player, like humble player.
Yeah, there's like 4 options in it. So whatever.
Yeah,
I want to be able to. If you're just playing as the manager, I want to be able to move my manager about on the touchline, and like if you get too far, if you encroach like onto the pitch, you get sent to the
standing behind the goals.
Yeah, doing a Mourinho running down the line and like knee sliding, like it's honestly that's the kind of maybe not the Mourinho knee slide, but the FMification of FC is something that I'm glad that's happening. Just as you mentioned, like previous clubs and stats and stuff like that. Ultimate Team is still really lacking in that stuff. Like there's no. I wish you could like take a screen, like a maybe not a literal screenshot, but you could say like, okay, save this club, save this lineup or whatever, and put that in like a Hall of Fame that you can go back and look at and be like, okay, this lineup won. We got to Div 4, Div 3. This was our best weekend league with this lineup. It's all so very kind. Yeah, it's like very transient.
It would be really nice to track that kind of progress as well, because I'm sure we've all had like iconic players over the years for our clubs, and it would be nice. Even at the end, like you get your Spotify Wrapped. It'd be sick at the end of FIFA or FC. Sorry, you get like a Ultimate Team Wrapped. You used Socrates in 300 games, and he bagged this many worldies and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like that. I used the gold base Chloe Kelly that I packed at the start of FC24 and the gold base Van Dyke that I packed at the FC24 until I finished playing. Like my Chloe Kelly was a 99 rated footy Evo and Van Dyke was like a 96 Evo, but they each had like 1,500 games on them. But
Yeah.
there's no way to see that apart from me going in and like checking their bio.
I also still, every year I say this, it's never happened. I wish they would do what NBA 2K does and have like a wee sticker book type thing for your duplicates.
They're
But-
not allowed to do that.
Are they not? Is
No.
that patented?
Yeah, it's because it's either Panini or Topps own the like digital sticker book licenses for the Premier League and a few other top leagues, so they can't. That's why they're shields
That's
and they're
wank.
not cards anymore. 'Cause
That's
they don't own
pathetic.
them. Yeah,
Because that was always a great thing in the NBA games, that you put all your like if you filled the entire Celtic team, say you got like a 1967 top or something like that, like just a nice
That's
wee
cool.
kind of a reason to do it.
I mean they had
but-
the league SBCs before this came into effect. They had the things where like you'd submit a team of every single team and you'd get like a purple Tierney or whatever, and
That's
that was,
right,
that was
yeah.
actually a great way to grind and get like I've watched far too much Nepenthes in my time, but
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, as far as I'm aware, the last time that they were asked about it, they were like, we actually can't do it, which is unfortunate.
That's frustrating because it's the sort of thing that would get me buying more packs, more
Yeah.
random packs,
It
because
would instantly make every card more valuable.
exactly, and even everyone, even people you don't give a shit about, like they're all like contributing to something.
Yeah.
Instead of ending up with a team with like 900 players and you only use 20 of them in rotation, it's like
I'm being better about that this year. If I'm getting rid of everybody. Amazing change. If you right stick over in the club, it shows you an average value of the card.
Oh, that's good.
Like it says, like this card is an average of 5k 900 coins, like on the club menu, which is ridiculously good as a change.
that's better than doing a search for player and thumbing through a million.
Yeah.
Especially in the menu.
Or getting
guys the same.
Footwiz up on your phone, like it's just
Mm,
yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
we'll be
Oh,
here
well.
for another 2 hours, but yes, I'm enjoying it this year. Morgan, thank you very much for joining us. Where can people see your review?
My review's on Radio Times, and I'm working with them for the next. What's the date today? It's Tuesday today, isn't it? So I'm doing another week. I'm doing until the end of next week with them as well. So I'll be with them for the next 2
Nice.
weeks, covering all things FC.
Is your review going to be in like the massive version of the Radio Times that comes out at Christmas?
Do you
the
know
big
what?
double decker
I might.
You tick all the shows you want to watch.
Yeah, I might
Yeah.
drop Rob an email and be like, "Can we get that? Can we just for me? Just for me."
next to Shrek 2
Yeah.
and the Queen's speech. Oh, the King's speech, sorry, God rest her.
Oh, hey, God rest her.
Chris, more FC for you?
Yes, we're going to cover the state of play, Pish, but after that, I'll be right back on
Oh
it.
God, so we do. I was literally, I'm going to get a game of Rivals. I mean, I'm so close to that objective. Oh, very last thing. How do we feel about the pack animation?
It's too much for nobodies.
It is too much
It's
for
so
nobodies.
long. You get like,
Like,
an
I
81
don't-
like,
yeah.
forever.
I don't like them walking it forever as if it's bloody. Oh, here we go. Who's this going to be?
Do you both
77.
know? Do you both know the tell for walkouts? So the
Did they skip a wee bit?
no. At the end of the tunnel, if there's like a triangle, that's when it's a walkout. So you just have to
Okay.
wait till it opens and you look
see
down the
triangle.
bottom. If there's a triangle, that's a
That's
walkout.
handy because I've got to write a guide on that tomorrow, I reckon. So I'll sort me right out.
Credit VGC.
Steal no content.
credit you, yeah.
Steal VGC's content.
Credit Jordan's half explained.
Yeah,
triangle.
with I'll set an image of this.
Yeah.
I liked it when the hotel thing was actually just a failure of the menus, but it's like if it takes too long to open, then you know it's a walkout. Like
It's loading them.
yeah, then eventually they got to the point where they were like, okay, we'll do little lines up the packs and stuff.
Whereas nowadays the failure in the menus is going on your squad and going send to club, and it doesn't send
Yeah.
to club. You actually have to hold the button down for it to actually register, which is
Or
vile.
when you're opening packs and you try to discard something. I've been doing bronze pack method, and the amount of packs I've tried to discard, I press X because I'm like, okay, that's done, and I'll have made the Gillingham badge my badge. The amount of random badges that I've assigned, and I have
Well,
to
that's
go
what
and
you-
be
that's what you get for-
Celtic,
No, there's nothing
Celtic.
wrong with the Gillingham
fair,
badge.
that-
All right, let me just. They're only
That's
done
what you
right.
get for scumming the system. That's what you get.
Yeah,
I've got no
Up the-
sympathy for that.
up the gels.
Up the gels.
Okay, thank you for watching. We will be back. FC content will infect all of VGC eventually. Until next time, say goodbye, Morgan.
See you later. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you'll have to come back after the first weekend league so we can have some therapy. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
We'll see you next time.